Hello, my name is Bill Jarrett. We're doing packet tracer activity d3233. There's a whole bunch of commands I've got to type in, and this activity takes more than 30 minutes, so this is too long of a recording for my taste, so I will pause the video from time to time, but you will get to see every command that I do type in. It's just I'm not going to waste your time sitting around while you're waiting for me to type. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start. We're going to configure these two routers right here, main office and remote site 1. Before we can do that, we just click on it, and it opens a little side window. We click on CLI, which is the command line interface, and as you can see, the router is up. It's ready for us. We just hit enter, and we type in EN for enable, and it's now enabled. And from here, we can throw a series of commands. So we'll put you on pause for just a second. Okay, the first thing I did was, as I said before, enabled the router by typing EN. The next one was I typed in the command of config, and then it changes it to a global configuration mode. And you can tell it'll ask you configuring from terminal, memory, or network. It's asking you to choose, so we chose T for terminal. So after that, it says to enter each command one per line, and here we see that we are now in global configuration mode. Router config member. That's how you know. And the first command I typed in was hostname main office. Basically, I'm declaring that the host name for the main office router will be main office. Now, I want you to take note that there are no spaces between main and office. A lot of programs do not like spaces, so a lot of people have a tendency to put the capital letter to separate the two words. But that's important to remember. Main office config. You'll notice that our next command was exit, because we've told it what the host name is. Now we're telling it to get out of global configuration mode. And as you can see here, we are no longer in global configuration mode. And we throw a copy run start command, which means copy the running configuration and then start a configuration. And you see that it says building configuration. Sometimes it'll ask you for this destination file name. It doesn't need a file name. You can just hit enter, and then it'll build your configuration. So now we have to do the same exact thing for this guy, the remote site 1. So I'll pause you again, so you don't have to bear through my typing. Okay, as you see, we have remote site 1 open here, and of course you see I did the same exact thing as we did before. Okay, we enabled the router, typed config to put in global configuration, told it we want to configure from the terminal. And then we specified that the host name would be remote site 1. And you'll notice that this time there's something different. He wanted to put a space, so they put an underscore as a space holder. You can do that as well, but don't ever put spaces in between there, because that's just bad practice. Okay. All right. But as you can see, we went through the same exact commands as before, through a copy run start after we exited out of global configuration mode, and didn't throw any name at it, and it built the configuration just fine. So now we're going to set up the interfaces on our router. So I'm going to go back to main office again, open it up, and as you can see, those are all previous commands. Put a couple spaces here so we can see the difference. And I'm going to throw some more commands in, so I'll put you on pause again. Okay, we're back, and alright, go back up to where we were. We reopened main office router, and here's where we left off. There's these spaces that I threw in. Alright, so what we're doing from here is we entered the config command to bring us into global configuration mode, and of course we specified terminal again, and then we started entering our commands. So we can see that here we are in global configuration mode, and the first command I issued was interface serial 010. So that's configuring the serial interface known as 010. The other thing we did is we threw, as soon as it did that, when we said configure interface 010, you'll see now that the mode that it's in is main office config interface, as we just specified that. So now, the first thing we did is we set the IP address, which was 192.168.1.1, with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.252. Pay attention, you'll see that again. We can also set the clock rate for 64,000, and then we threw a no shut command. Alright, now remember, we haven't exited from this mode, so we're still in configuration for the config interface. we just threw a no shut. So I just threw a couple spaces here to create a little bit of room. Alright, and you'll see that we're still in the same mode. So we started configuring a second interface that was called Fast Ethernet 00. And its address IP address is 192.168.2.1 with a typical subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Then we threw another no shut command, and I forgot my space in between there, so it threw me an error, and I got it right the second time. Then we had to exit this mode. Now we're up 3 layers already, so we had to exit out of this one, and then we had to exit out of this one to get back to privileged exec mode. So I threw 2 exits, main office, config interface. I threw an exit, and it brought me out 1 layer. Then I threw another exit, and now I'm back out to privileged exec mode. Okay, from here we can throw our copy run start command, and of course it asks us for a name. We didn't give one, and it went ahead and built that configuration. So now I got to do the exact same thing on this guy, remote site 1. So I'll pause you again. Okay, we're back. Here we are with remote site 1, and where we started was right here. Basically, we entered global configuration mode, just like last time, and went in and started configuring interface serial 010, just like on the last router. We set the IP address and the subnet mask, which looks strangely familiar, doesn't it? God, it's almost like we're trying to set these things up to talk to each other. Hey, I guess that's what we're trying to do. And we threw a no shut, and then after that, we configured a second interface. We stayed in the same configuration mode, so I got typing ahead of myself and missed a 0. So I threw an error, but that's alright. Here it is, interface Fast Ethernet 00. We set the IP address and subnet mask, and then a no shut command, and then 2 exits to get us out of global configuration mode back to privileged exec mode, so we could type in our copy run start, which is right there. And it went ahead and configured it and built it. So next we have some more configuring to do. We have to set the RIP version protocol. So we're going to go back again to the main office and set the RIP version protocol. So I've got some typing to do. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I've got the main office router open. I've created some space here so we can see where we're starting from. People don't get confused. First thing I did is I put it back into global configuration mode, and then we configured from terminal, of course. First command we threw once we were in global configuration mode is router RIP to set the RIP version. And the next one is version 2 to let it know it's version 2. And which networks that we're playing with here, network 192.168.1.0. And then I got ahead of myself and screwed up twice. And the second one is 192.168.2.0. And then we threw 2 exit commands to get out of global configuration all the way back to our regular configuration. Then we threw our copy run start. And of course it asked us for a name and we didn't give it one. And that was it. So then we had to do the same thing on the second router, which is remote site 1. Oh, this one's a little cleaner so I don't make any mistakes. So we entered global configuration mode again from terminal. And here you can see all the commands: router RIP, version 2, network 192.168.1, and 192.168.3 this time. Remember on the last one it was 1 and 2, this one is 1 and 3. Then we threw 2 exits and then a copy run start. Okay. Next up, we're going to want to configure, enable our console and VTY passwords on both of the routers. So again, I got some more typing to do, but again, we just click on this, it opens it up, and we can go right down here and start entering our commands. So create some space here, and then I'm going to start typing. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back. So typed in some new stuff, threw in again, back into global configuration mode from the terminal, and we threw in an enable secret Cisco 123, then line console 0, and So we're now configuring that console. Password class, login, line VTY04, password class, login, and then 2 exits to bring us back out of global configuration mode. And then our copy run start. And you'll also notice that in remote site 1, we had to do the exact same thing. Global configuration mode, the whole 9 yards, the exact same thing here. The passwords, logins, everything. So the last thing that we have to do is verify all of our configurations and connectivity, that everything is running right. Now, the way how we're going to do this is by simply using the show running config command. So, what you do, click on main office or whichever CLI that you want. Oh, I didn't throw copy run start yet. There it is. Okay, there we go. Alright. So we type in our show running config command. Let's do this one wrong. Config. Alright, now what we can see, go back up to where we just ran that. Building configuration, yada yada yada. Alright, what we can see here is our current configuration. And here's our host name, so we know that was set right. We can see an enable secret. It's all encrypted now. Come on, baby. There's our first interface that we configured, interface fast Ethernet 00. And you can see that it is correctly configured with the proper IP address and subnet range, or subnet mask. And here's fast Ethernet 01. We did not configure, so of course it has nothing with it. And here's 010 for serial, which we did configure, which is correct, with clock rate. And then we did not configure 011, so of course there's nothing there. Here's our router RIP version 2, and our 2 address ranges that were set, 1 and 2. The other one should be 1 and 3, if you remember correctly. So, then we see our password class, login, line BTY, password class, and login again. So that one is configured correctly. Okay. We can do the same thing for remote site router 1, which we're going to go and do right now. Drag your butt in here. Okay. We'll type in our show running dash config. There we are. We can see here's our remote site 1. And as you can see, everything is in here again as promised. 252, and here's 1 and 3, we just mentioned that. Password class, login, so everything looks good. So now, we should be able to throw some, like, ping or tracing routes and things of that nature. So, alright. So we should go over here to the PCs, and we're going to try to ping. We're going to try to ping PC1 from PC0. So here's 1, here's 0. So what we need to do is just click on him, and of course opens a little window, and we're going to go to our desktop, and I want the command prompt. That way I can type in my lovely little command. I'm going to try to ping him. So ping 192.168.3.3. So we're pinging away. I'll move this out of the way for just a second. If you remember, this was 192.168.1, and then and the other one, it was also the .2, and then this was 1 and 3. But it's saying the request timed out. and it's not finding it. So now we're going to try to use a trace route command. So how we just simply do that is just type in trace route. Oh wow. Trace route. Man. .3. Now let's try to trace it. Now this could take a little while, so while we're waiting for all the results to come back, I'm going to pause it so that way you don't have to wait for it to hit all 30 hops. So hold on. Okay, we're up to 11 hops and still going. This is like watching grass grow. Okay, we're up to 20 now. Someone wake me when we get to 30. Okay, we're back, and it's gone through all 30 hops, and all 30 of them timed out. Clicking checking our results. This activity says that we've completed it, and apparently we got everything done right. So it actually took me 47 minutes to do this whole activity. So the recording time is significantly less. I hope you understand why I had to take so much time to pause, but I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.